Hey guys, it's Kasera, and today I'm going to be doing my February week 2 reading vlog. So it is Sunday, February 9th. And last week, I did not get a whole lot of physical reading done. I did a lot of audio reading, but I spent a lot of time at work last week because I had to work 2 days more than I typically do. So I didn't have as much time as I typically do. And the first thing that I stopped doing when I don't have as much time is I stopped doing physical reading, unfortunately. But I did get a lot of reading done. If you missed that vlog, I will link it up in the cards for you guys. Like all vlogs, I'm going to start out with the books that I'm currently reading. So my current audiobook is The Tower of Swallows by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the 4th novel in the Witcher series, the second to last book in the series. And I'm really excited to continue on with this series because I'm really enjoying it so far. And I'm really enjoying this book so far. I'm probably about halfway through it now. And I'm excited to see where it goes because it's getting really interesting. Additionally, last week, like I said, I was super busy, but I was becoming a little bit of a mood reader. So I started a lot of things that I haven't gotten very far into at all, but I picked up another audiobook as a reread, and that's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I'm rereading this one just because I was in one of those moods and I just needed something that I just really wanted to read, and that wasn't fantasy because I was reading so much fantasy at the time. So I decided to pick up Pride and Prejudice, and I'm really enjoying this one. This one I'm also about halfway through, and I like living in this world and everything, and it's just fun. I love this book. It's so good. My physical book that I've been reading since like the end of January is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alix Harrow. I'm really enjoying this book though, like really enjoying it. Like every time I pick this book up, I love every second of what I'm reading. I just don't have a lot of time to pick it up, and I don't have the audiobook for this one to continue on like just randomly during the day, but I'm really enjoying this one. This one is about a character named January who is growing up, and she finds this door, and she also has this book called The 10,000 Doors, which talks about these doors that you can go through to other worlds. I absolutely love it, and the writing in this is so beautiful. I love the writing in this, and I'm really excited to continue on with it. Also, when I was in that weird mood, I decided to pick back up Words of Radiance by Sanderson. I'm definitely excited to get back to this one because I love this series. I can't wait to continue on with this one as well. Also reading Daughter from the Dark by Marina and Sergei. Dyachenko. This book is an e-arc. It actually comes out this week on February 11th, and I'm really excited for it. Like, I've read the first chapter in it, and I love it so far. Like, I really love the first chapter. I don't know what this book is about because I like specifically didn't read the description before picking it up because their first book that I read by them, Vita Nostra, I didn't know what it was about, and it was fantastic. Partially because I didn't know what it was about. So I wanted to go into this one completely blind. Based off the first chapter, I'm super excited for it, and I cannot wait to finish this one as well. And lastly, for my unwrapped book for these 2 weeks, I just unwrapped The Shape of Water by Guillermo del Toro. I think in the last video I put the wrong name. I don't know why there's 2 authors named on there. Is it supposed to be 2 authors? You know, it doesn't say. Whatever. It's by Guillermo del Toro. My bad. Anyways, so this one ended up in my wrapped books because I had been really excited for it when the movie came out, and I was like, oh, it's based off a book, great. And then I found out, no, it's the other way around. The book is based off of the movie. So I was less interested in reading the book, and I kind of just wanted to watch the movie instead, but I just never did. So I still have this book, so I guess I'm reading the book. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen over the next couple weeks. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't. All I know, it's about a mute woman who falls in love with a sea monster or a seaman or a fishman or whatever he is. Anyways, it seems like a good book to read in February either way. So it is Monday, February 10th. Last night I finished my reread of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I decided to pick this up physically, which was a mistake because I just couldn't stop. Like, I had half the book left, and I just spent like a good 3 or 4 hours just finishing this book because I just couldn't stop reading it. It's so good. I love this book. It's one of my favorite books of all times. And of course, I ended up giving it 5 stars. This morning, I finally finished The Tower of Swallows by Andrzej Sapkowski. I only have like an hour left in the audiobook, so it didn't take really long for me to finish it. I really enjoyed it. I love the ending, and I love Ciri. So if you guys know anything about the Witcher series, Siri in this book, fantastic. Absolutely love her character development in this book. And I cannot wait to read the next book in this series. I ended up giving this one 4.5 stars. So when I finished that audiobook, I needed to start a new audiobook, and I don't really have one in place that I was going to read next. So I got an audiobook from my library called Sing Unburied Sing by Jesmyn Ward. It's supposed to be kind of like a magical realism sort of book that's set in the United States, and it follows like 3 different generations. And Jesmyn Ward is an author of color. So since this book has been on my radar for about over a year now, I thought it was the perfect time to finally pick it up. I've listened to like the first 3 hours of it so far. I'm interested in seeing where it's going. So far, it hasn't really like caught my attention yet, but I'm definitely interested in seeing where it's going because there are some really interesting threads in it. It definitely reads more like a literary fiction than anything, because I feel like when people say that this is a fantasy book, it is not fantasy. Maybe it's magical realism, but it's most definitely not fantasy. If you go into it thinking that it's fantasy, you're probably not gonna like it. I am really interested in seeing where that one's going, but I just received this baby in the mail, so yes, I'm so excited for this. I didn't expect to get this one till tomorrow because it is getting released tomorrow. Heart of Flames, by the way, in case you guys are wondering, by Nicki Preto, which is the sequel to Crown of Feathers, which was one of my favorite books of last year, and I'm just so excited for it. By the way, I got the like special Alcrate edition because I got the first book in an Alcrate box, and so that's why it's different than the regular cover, and there's sprayed edges and stuff, and I'm just so excited. And I have the day off today, so you guys know what I'm doing today. Like, you guys know what's happening today. I'm so excited for this. I made quite a bit of progress on Heart of Flames by Nicki Preto. I'm right about there now, so I'm about a third of the way into it. I am loving this so far. Mind you though, I'm really partial to this series. Like, I really love the first book, and I don't know if I like the second book as much as the first book. I mean, I'm still at the very beginning, and part of the reason why I love the first book as much as I did was because of how the first book ended. I did love like the story from the beginning to the end of the first book, but the ending in the first book really was what made me love it as much as I did. And I'm excited to see how this one's gonna end, because I just feel like with this author, she has a way of doing really great endings, especially when it comes to her lore and stuff like that, and building all of that into the story. So I'm excited to see where this is going. But I am really enjoying it. It is a little bit more of a YA feel to it than the first book did, but like, I'm kind of okay with that. It's a YA book, so it should have that feel to it, and I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, I'm loving this. Because I picked up Heart of Flames, I didn't think I would make a whole lot of progress on my audiobook, Sing Unburied Sing, which I picked up this morning, but I actually did. I actually ended up finishing my audiobook, Sing Unburied Sing, this morning. I have to say, it surprised me because I didn't know what to expect from this book at all. And I feel like there's a good reason why there's a lot of lower star ratings for this book on Goodreads than higher star ratings. And that's partially because I think of the way that this book is marketed, because it's kind of marketed as a fantasy book, and it's not, like, at all. Like, it is not a fantasy book. It is barely even magical realism. It almost reads like literary fiction or historical fiction. I think it's probably best just like regular contemporary fiction is what I categorize it as, but it reminds me kind of the same feel that I got when I was reading 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, even though that is a completely different atmosphere because that one's set in South America. This one is set in the United States, but it kind of has that same sort of feel to it and that same sort of like picture of a culture, if you understand what I'm talking about there. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It is definitely a little bit out of my comfort zone. It's not the type of book that I would typically pick up, but I did enjoy it, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. So it is Tuesday, February 11th, and I finished Heart of Flames by Nicki Preto. I really enjoyed this. Like, I really enjoyed it. Mind you, I'm really biased towards the series because I love the characters and I love the world building in it. I do have to say I liked the first book better than this one. I think just the revelations and like some of the plot devices and the timelines worked better in the first book than it did in this one, though this one was a lot more ambitious, if that makes sense. Like, this one tried to do a lot of things. I don't think it fully succeeded in doing a lot of things that it tried to do, but I liked what it was trying to do, and because of that, I still really enjoyed it, and I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. A full review for this one is coming out probably before this video. So if it's already out, then I'll link that up in the cards for you guys. For my audiobook, since I finished my audiobook yesterday, I decided to pick up a new audiobook today, and I decided to pick up Lady of the Lake by Andrzej Sapkowski. I know, I've literally just finished Tower of Swallows, but I got the audiobook from my library, and I was just like, I kind of want to start it. I didn't have any specific audiobook plans, even though I hadn't planned to read Lady of the Lake until next month, because it was like every month I would read one book from the Witcher series. But since I got it early, I just decided to start it, and wow, I love how it started. Like, I really love the beginning of Lady of the Lake. It's so far my favorite book in the Witcher series, and I've only read like the first like 2 chapters or something like that, but I really like the beginning. Like, it's so good, and I'm really excited to finish that book as well. I wanted to see how it all ends, and hopefully I'll end up liking it, because I've heard it's a somewhat interesting ending. Like, it's not your typical ending for a series. So I'm excited to see what that is. It's Thursday, February 13th. Last night I finished Daughter from the Dark by Marina and Sergei Dyachenko. I honestly don't know how I feel about this book right now. Like, I'll be doing a review on it soon and gathering all my thoughts on it. I ended up giving it 4.25 stars. Part of me really loves this book because as I was reading it, I was constantly just really invested in the story. Partially because it had a similar air to their first book, in the sense that it was incredibly like mysterious. Like, there was always something that I was just like, what is this about, and what is this about? And I was trying to figure out what was going on. But it had more of a down-to-earth quality that I didn't expect from the book. And because of that, I wanted more closure from the ending, and I really didn't get the closure that I wanted from the ending. I did still like the ending, like, I liked it, but I didn't get the closure that I wanted from it. For those of you who don't know, Daughter from the Dark is about a character named Aspirin, who is a DJ, and he finds this girl on the street in the middle of the night and decides to take her home and give her a place to stay for the night. But the next day, he ends up finding out that she's his daughter, even though, like, there's something incredibly mysterious about her, and she might be supernatural in some ways, and it's incredibly interesting. Like, it's definitely a little bit mind-bending, as you would expect a book by Marina and Sergei Dyachenko to be, but at the same time, there's this more of this down-to-earth quality to it that I wasn't expecting from this book. Like, it definitely had a more of a gritty feel. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, which is kind of like a weird comparison because they're completely different, but at the same time, they have a very similar atmosphere. And I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed it. I still don't know, like, my, like, full thoughts on this book because the ending was very abrupt, in my opinion. I felt like it ended very abruptly, and I don't know how much I like that, but I did enjoy it, and I gave it 4.25 stars. So I have made a bit of progress on my audiobook, The Lady of the Lake by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the final book in the Witcher series, and I'm so excited to finally be towards the end. There is another book in the Witcher series that I'm gonna read, Season of Storms. It's kind of takes place around the same time as The Last Wish, so I will be getting to that one eventually, but this is the final, like, book in the series, and I'm really excited to get to the end. I'm not liking this as much as I did the first chapter. Like, I really loved the first chapter. I'm still enjoying it, mind you, and I'm excited to see where it's going, but I had loved the first chapter so much, and I like that storyline still. Like, series storyline in this book, I still really love. For some reason, though, I kind of don't care about Geralt in this book, even though, like, he's the main character of the entire series. Kind of don't care. I kind of just want to read about Ciri. So yeah, that's where I am with this book right now, but I am really enjoying it, and I'm excited to see where this one's going. Okay, so it's Friday, February 14th. Last night when I came home, I was just in a weird mood, just like last week around this time of the week. So I ended up starting 2 books last night. The first one is Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is an e-arc that I got from NetGalley because Shorefall is the sequel to Countryside and is coming out in April. I'm so excited for this book. Like, the first chapter was like crazy good. I loved the first chapter. I felt so invested in the world, and I'm just so excited to continue on with the journey because there was just so much about the magic specifically that we get in the first chapter that I'm just like, I'm so excited for it. I feel like this series is kind of like a mix of sci-fi and fantasy, or at least it's fantasy from a modern perspective, and I really love it. Like, I really, really love it, and I'm really excited to see where this book is going. The other book that I decided to pick up is Shaman's Crossing by Robin Hobb. So this is one of my Fantasy Books Series Challenge books, and I'm almost halfway through the month and I haven't picked up either of them yet, so I figured it's time to pick one up. I read the first chapter and surprisingly, like, I was super into the first chapter. I felt like the first chapter did a really good job of just fleshing out the world and these characters, and it had a really good setup in the first chapter. I'm already angry at sort of the political situation, not really political, more of a social situation that happened in the first chapter, and it made me so angry, but like in a good way. Like, I can tell like that's what the author meant by it, so I'm excited for that. But like with Robin Hobb's books in general, they're less about the fantasy and they're less about the action. They're a little bit more about the social and political situations, which I also enjoy, and of course character development. I don't know these characters very well yet, so we'll see. Maybe I'll end up really loving them, maybe I won't. I don't know yet with this one, but I did feel really immersed in the story as soon as I started reading it, which I don't know why I didn't expect to feel that way because it's Robin Hobb. I love Robin Hobb. Obviously, I feel immersed in most of her stories, but I remember like when I first started the Realm of the Elderling series, it's a huge 16-novel series. It took me a while to get into it and really feel the characters and feel the situations in the world. But this one, I felt like in it right away, and I think that just might be my familiarity with her writing now, but I really enjoyed the first chapter also. So yeah, I just randomly decided to start 2 books last night, and we'll see how that goes because I seriously doubt I'm gonna finish them before the end of day tomorrow. I did make quite a bit of progress also on Lady of the Lake by Andrzej Sapkowski. I'm about halfway done with it now, so I have about 10 hours left in the audiobook, and I am loving it. It's bringing in like some physics principles and stuff like that I love it when books get all scientific, especially fantasy books, because you like never see fantasy books actually get like scientific, and this one is, and I love it. And I'm really excited to see where this one's going. Like, I love series whole plotline. Series plotline is fantastic, and just, like I said, I love it. So, really enjoying this one. Really enjoyed both of the books that I started last night. Of course, they're all adult high fantasy books, so of course I was gonna like them, but at the same time, I'm really happy with what I'm reading right now. So it's Saturday, February 15th, and today I have to go to work, so I don't have a whole lot of time, but I'll do a quick summary of what I did this week. So I ended up finishing 5 books this week, 3 physical ones, obviously, and then 2 that I don't physically own. The first one was Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, which I absolutely loved. Of course, this was a reread for me, and I ended up giving it 5 stars. The second was Tower of Swallows by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the 4th novel in the Witcher series, which I also really enjoyed. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorites of the series, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. The third one was Sing Unburied Sing by Jesmyn, which was definitely really out of my comfort zone, but I did end up enjoying it as well, and I gave that one 4 stars. The fourth one was Heart of Flames by Nicki, which also I loved. I absolutely love this series, and I'm so excited for the next book in the series, and I ended up giving this one 4.5 stars. And the last one was A Daughter from the Dark by Marina and Sergei, which I also really enjoyed. I still don't fully understand my feelings for that book. It's such an interesting book that it's done in such an interesting way that I don't know how I feel about it. But I did enjoy it, and I gave that one 4.25 stars. Now for the books that I'm currently reading. So I am still currently reading The 10,000 Doors of January by Alix E. Harrow. I kind of put this one on hold when I ended up getting Heart of Flames because I really, really wanted to read that one. I am enjoying this one though. Like, I'm at a really good part, and I'm excited to see where it's going. I really love the writing in this one too, by the way. Love it. So I should be finishing this pretty early on in next week. Also, my current audiobook is The Lady of the Lake by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the final book in the Witcher series, and I'm loving this one. This is my favorite one so far, and I'm only halfway through it. Mind you, I have to return the book like tonight, so I seriously doubt I'm gonna finish it. I might have to end up getting it from Audible because Like when I placed a hold on it again, it's like you have to wait 10 weeks and I'm not gonna wait 10 weeks for it. So yeah, I probably will end up buying this from Audible, but right now I am absolutely loving this one. And then I'm also still reading Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. I haven't made a whole lot of progress on this one just because I just keep getting distracted by other books, but I will continue to make progress on this one throughout the month, and hopefully I'll end up finishing this one soon. Okay, and then recently I started 2 new books. The first one was Shaman's Crossing by Robin Hobb, which I read the first chapter of like a couple days ago, and I absolutely enjoyed, and I'm excited to see where this one's going because it's a lot different than I was expecting it to be. And the other one was Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett, which I am super, super excited for. It definitely started off like really, really well, and I'm excited to see where that one's going as well. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you've read any of these books, please let me know down in the comments because I would love to discuss with you guys. I post videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so consider subscribing. I also post bonus videos, so if you want to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.